All right, today we are going to talk about how you can take time off as a wedding photographer or videographer and still get paid. Hey guys, today we are talking about finances, specifically how we're able to take roughly 3 months off every year but still get paid. Disclaimer though, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. It's just simply what we do, what has worked for us in the past, and what has helped multiple people that we've mentored. The first and most important thing to do as a wedding photographer or videographer is to keep your retainers. A lot of photographers and videographers that we have spoken to over the last multiple years when it comes to finances always tell us that as the retainers come in, they use those retainers to pay themselves and pay their bills and generally, run their business and live their lives. However, we do things a little bit differently, and that's kind of what I'm sharing with you today. We never touch any retainer unless it's for the year that we are currently in. And personally, I recommend that to anyone in our industry, in our field, because it is going to be the best way to set you up for success for the following years. Doing it this way helps us to pre-plan what that next year is going to look like. By January, we usually have a good picture of what our financial situation is going to be, whether we need to book more weddings, and what our basic budget is going to look like. Because Veronica and I do this together, and this is our main source of income, we have to do it this way so that we know exactly what's coming in. However, I will say that even if your spouse does work a full-time job or you don't fully rely on this income, it's important to start doing that right away so that it sets you up for success down the road. So with that comes the budget. Creating that budget based on what you have set aside for the following year is ultimately going to help you know exactly where your money is going. What money is going to bills, what money is going to go to your expenses for your business, what's going to go to new gear, what's going to be going to just general fund money, what's going to go to savings. All of those things need to be listed out in your budget, and you really cannot do that without knowing what your year is going to look like. So you're keeping your retainers, you have a budget, but that only works if you're organized with it. And when I say organized with it, I mean you have bank accounts set up to keep everything in its place. For us, we operate with at least 6 bank accounts between our day-to-day personal and our day-to-day business. Those accounts from business to personal are our general business checking account, our business retainers account, and our business tax savings account. Then for personal, I have a personal main checking account, a personal bills checking account, and then a personal savings account. All 6 of those, I would say, are a bare minimum for anyone in this industry. Let's talk through generally how money flows between all the accounts. When we get a payment coming in, it will deposit into our main business checking account. From there, we will see, is it a current year retainer or is it a future year retainer? If it's a current year retainer, it stays where it is. And then 30% of that money will go into the tax savings account. If it is not for the current year, that full amount that came in will go into the retainer savings account. And the retainer savings account basically goes untouched until January the following year. That process continues as money comes in. Whether it's a final payment or a retainer payment, we have to analyze what it is and decide if anything needs to come out for taxes or if anything needs to come out and go into the retainer account. Fast forward to January 1st, I have a ledger that has a list of all of the retainer payments that we have gotten for that year. And all of that money should be sitting in that savings account that I had set aside for retainers. On January 1st, I take that full amount and I transfer that into our business checking account, and that's what we start the year with. Once I transfer that large amount into our main checking account, I will then take 30% of that and put it into our tax savings account. So when it comes to paying ourselves, we pay ourselves from the business checking account. So once a week, we will pay ourselves our set budget amount, and that will get transferred into our main checking account. And then from there, I will pull out from what our personal bills are that year for mortgage, insurance, utilities, things like that, and I'll take and put a percentage of the monthly bills into a bills checking account so that everything is always paid and the money is always going to be there. And what's left is what our weekly budget is to live off of. As far as the savings accounts go, it's really up to you on what you want to do as far as how much you want to put into a savings account, how often you want to put it where that money's coming from. All sorts of things play into that. Now, it may seem like there's a lot going on with this, and really there is, but when you are organized up front, especially when it comes to your finances for your business, that is only going to set you up for further success in the future. This is not a one-size-fits-all thing. This is how we do it. This is what's worked for us very successfully since we started this business. It's also good to note that if you haven't been doing it this way and you've been in business for a while, it will take time to transition to this method because you might have been spending your retainers and don't have that savings added up for those retainers. All this said, you might be asking, okay, so how does that help you take time off? Well, when we are able to have that retainer money set aside that we start our year with, then that means we can, if we decide to, take January through March completely off from weddings so that we have that break to reset, refuel, go out of town, and just focus on our mental health, because that's ultimately what's important when you run a business. So like I said before, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a financial planner, I'm just good with numbers, and this is what has worked for us and what we've developed to make the most out of the money that we have coming in. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Like this video if you enjoyed it and found it informative. We also have memberships, so click that join button and check out those, see what those have to offer. And we will see you next time.